I'm Laura Harrington. I'm from the UK, just outside of London, and I'm a conceptual creative. One of my first memories of engaging in something creative, I think, is when I used to learn ballet when I was really little. I was about 5 and I loved it. I was just a tiny little ballerina, and at that point it was really, really fun, and that was my first glimpse, I think, into the creative world. I think what it taught myself about creativity was that there was this whole world that you could actually have fun with and just go out there and enjoy. Even though it was never a job at the beginning, it's more about just being able to play in a creative space. I used to love doing fashion drawings as a kid, and I think I just enjoyed drawing, just putting pen to paper and having fun, and also then thinking about how it could live in the world potentially. My mum, who is a teacher, realised when I was 7 years old that I was dyslexic. When we realised that I was dyslexic, I was so fortunate to find out at 7 years old, and my mum being a teacher, it meant that everything that I learnt from that point on could be tailored. So I would learn things with different coloured pens. I was taught with different coloured keys on the piano, even listening to classical music whilst I learn. My first creative jobs were actually when I was in advertising, my second year of advertising at university, and my creative partner, Mandy Gould at the time, we actually won an internship in London, and so we went in, we worked at this internship, and we realised you're going to work your arse off and it's going to be really, really, really fun. The advertising world has obviously never been the most inclusive space for everybody. And from when I first started out, the first ad agency that I worked at, JWT at the time, there was actually like 40 male creative teams and not many women, let's put it that way. But my partner and I were very scrappy, stole briefs from printers and got our work in front of some of the most amazing minds, and they appreciated it and pushed us. I think the project that gave me the biggest confidence boost was probably the Kit Kat campaign. We were put up against 6 incredible teams, like amazing. But I think for our idea to be picked, that for me will probably be the confidence boost that I think we needed. And so we created this whole campaign with these superheroes, but they were like a little bit crap superheroes. So they're always like falling, or like their props were falling apart, and just silly things like that happening. And we got to work with Aardman to make the actual props. They're the people that make Wallace and Gromit. I learned a huge amount on that project. I think my visa journey really is where my creative got to be pushed to another dimension, which is really, really cool, because I wasn't allowed to work through my visa process. And so within that time, I actually then had to find creative outlets to almost stay sane. So out of this crazy visa fun, basically I started to sew, and I took that beginner's course and I absolutely loved it. One of my friends who owns a shop in Brooklyn saw what I was created, and she was like, oh, these are really cool. Would you like to create a line and put it in the shop? So I made, I think it was 16 blouses and put them in the shop and just thought, let's see what happens. And I created this brand. I'd always worked on so many other brands, other people's brands, and there was always something that I didn't align with, if it was how it was sustainably produced, how, it wasn't inclusive, how even down to like the sizes, who's behind the camera, who's in front of the camera. I realized that this was my opportunity to make something that I could be proud of. And so I made Fly By Night. I sort of made a viral product, and I didn't even really realize, first of all, at the time, but this scrunchy headband, which you'll have probably all seen everywhere by now, but this is what I created from the scraps from my larger pieces. And I think I realized that it went viral was when I had a really lovely Instagram audience actually at the time, and people started going, oh, have you seen it's in this shop? And suddenly I realized that Zara had made one and ASOS had made one. And at the time I was so annoyed. I was so cross. I was like, how could they take from this small business, my little scrunchy crowns? They're called crowns, by the way. And then now I'm just like, do you know what? That's pretty damn cool that they thought it was cool enough that they want to rip it off. Cool. I was insanely lucky to have Regina Spektor wear my blouse on her album cover. It actually started out by one of the stylists, or one of her stylists, was following me on Instagram, messaged me telling me she was doing a pull for a big shoot, and could she come and borrow some pieces? And then about a year and a half later, I got a message telling me to go and look at the Regina Spektor album because she was wearing the blouse. The Fish Boys calendar was kind of a really ridiculous fun one that I did just before, well, it was for the holidays. I was chatting to the owner of Greenpoint Fish. We were having a wine and he mentioned that he'd always wanted to make a calendar, and I was like, say no more. So I made a whole deck, took it to him, and I was like, we're going to make the Fish Boys calendar. It's going to be your staff. It's going to be incredible. And then I just gathered this amazing group of creatives, and just we created this thing over 2 days. So actually that calendar then took me on to what I'm creating right now, which is so much fun. I'm actually designing a sports bar right now. So the owner of Greenpoint Fish got a space with another friend, and they came to me and they were like, have you ever designed a sports bar? And I was like, I haven't, but I've done a lot of events. And like, would you like to? I was like, yes, I definitely would. So I made this whole look and feel deck. I worked with Zach, a graphic designer who is also one of the part owners as well. And yeah, we have been creating this space, and hopefully it's going to open in the next few weeks. This is Rounders, one of the places that I'm currently designing, and it's nearly there, it's nearly finished. I worked with the designer Zach Sears. Everything from the beautiful long bar that's been put in here, the colour scheme that we've drenched across the whole space. We worked together to create this like mid-century modern sort of feel that sort of was a cross between dive bar meets beautiful sports bar and just a homely living room space that makes everybody feel welcome, and that you can enjoy a cheap beer and stay for 1 or stay for 5, you know? I think if I could offer any advice of someone trying to get into advertising or the creative space, or just taking that leap, is to just never be afraid to ask other people for help, or to what they're working on. What are they doing? Can you help with that project? Oh, can I just grab you for coffee? I'd love to hear about what that project that you just did. Immerse yourself into what you want to see in your own creative out there, and yeah, just keep putting yourself out there, really. I don't know if I'm one of those creative people that will ever have something that they will be like, oh, that's the end, cool, I'm done. I think it's always going to be that I'm going to want to do more. I think I just love being creative, and also with technology changing, I just want to learn the new thing that's coming out, and I just want to figure that out, and I'm like, well, then I could make something with that. Thank you so much for listening to my story. I'm Laura Harrington, and grab me for a cuppa if you want to chat about creative fun.